Are fuel prices moving up, down, or doing waka waka? Is the cedi really behaving, or it's just pretending for the cameras? Well, that's why you need a show that breaks it all down without breaking your head. The Afternoon Business Review gives you clear analysis, fresh updates, and smart insights without the stress. My name is Oye Walton Ankrah, and I bring you everything you need to know in the world of business Mondays to Thursdays at 12:30. Let's have lunch together. The Afternoon Business Review, where Ghana's Business Day gets explained.
Class 91.3 FM.
Did you know that timber produces over $260 million annually for the country? I bet you didn't. Timber produces $260 million annually for the country in revenue. Ghana's timber sector is a crucial economic pillar and accounting for roughly 6% of the national GDP, driven largely by high-value hardwoods like African mahogany, sapele, and teak. The industry generates tens of thousands of jobs and is strictly regulated to combat deforestation. Total timber and wood products production sits at 952,000 cubic meters. Teak, ceiba, abachi, and African mahogany are among the most harvested and exported species. The formal sector, which is around 200 processing mills, is highly export-oriented, while a similarly sized informal sector largely supplies 85% of domestic timber demands. The industry provides direct and indirect livelihoods for roughly 15% to 20% of the Ghanaian population. Hello, good afternoon, and welcome to the Afternoon Business Review, where we tell you what moves money and markets. We move straight to the commodities market. Let's find out how much crude oil, gold, and cocoa are being sold on the global market. Crude oil is selling at 79 pesos. The price has actually reduced. It used to, as of yesterday, it was $84 per barrel. Today, it's gone down to $79 per barrel. So the price of crude oil keeps fluctuating on the global market, and it comes down to us domestically. Gold is being pegged at $4,059 per ounce, and cocoa is priced at $5,494 per ton. I'm so excited about cocoa. If you know where we got to, 3,000, a little above 3,000, causing the government of Ghana to reduce the prices for cocoa farmers. So it's sitting at $5,494 per ton. Is some exciting news for us, and for me in particular. We move straight to the interbank market to find out how much the currencies, that is, the major currencies, are being retailed. So if you went to any of the commercial banks, the GCB Bank, the CBG Ghana, ABSA, EcoBank, Stanbic Bank, all the banks, the commercial banks, how much are the currencies are being retailed? The dollar is selling at 11 cedis 56 pesos. That is selling at 11 cedis 56 pesos. And if you want to buy a dollar, you are likely to get it at 11 cedis 55 pesos. The British pound is trading at 15 cedis 52 pesos. For selling, buying is at 15 cedis 50 pesos. So if you want to buy the pound, 1 pound is going for 15 cedis 50 pesos in the commercial banks. The euro is selling at 13 cedis 20 pesos. And if you want to buy, you are likely to get €1 for 13 cedis 19 pesos. It has actually dropped. It was 13 cedis 20 pesos yesterday. So if you want to buy €1, you are likely to get it at that price. And be reminded that these are the figures that will be retailed, the currencies, to you at the commercial banks. So it will be different at the forex bureaus. And remember, do not go to the black market. It is illegal to do so. Let's go to this Ghana Stock Exchange to look at your stocks. Well, have you invested in MTN, Casapreco, and all the companies that are listed on the Ghana Stock Exchange? Yes? No? If yes, then you would need this update from Caitlin Datsy of Databank.
The stock market started the week on a declining note with four laggards offsetting two gainers. The gainers were Hodds and Intravenous, while ETI, GCB Bank, Enterprise Group, and Goyle declined. Driven by the price moves, the Ghana Stock Exchange Composite Index declined to a year-to-date return of 70.25%, while the Databank Stock Index declined to a year-to-date gain of 87.67%. Casapreco, MTN Ghana, and GCB Bank traded the most, accounting for 69.35% of the market turnover after trading 859,644 shares across 21 counters. For Databank Research, Caitlin Dazi.
Class 91.3 FM.
And you are on the afternoon business review, where we tell you all the stories that are shaping the economy and moving your money from your market, from your pocket to the market, or from the market to your pocket. Yes. People will be happy with from the market to your pocket. So from the market to your pocket, it is. It's now time for us to look at the stories that are shaping the Ghanaian economy. Nana Juman Prempe is seated already. Nana, what's the biggest story in Ghana right now, aside from the finance minister preparing to, go to parliament on Thursday to present the media budget review?
Yeah, one of your favorite places, I should say, Bank of Ghana. Always in the news.
I know.
So, yeah, the Bank of Ghana is trending as regards the monetary policy rates that they are expected.
They're also meeting.
Yeah,
they're meeting. Yeah.
So they're expected to conclude a meeting tomorrow. Hopefully, maybe there's going to be an increase or a reduction, or just like the last time, they're going to maintain the rate. So, yeah, but let me start with the Ghana Statistical Service. They've released the Producer Price Index for the month of May 2026, and it has eased to 3.5%. And so from 3.7 to 3.5%. So this represents, according to the Statistical Service, year on year, this is a drop, or represent a 2.3% drop from last year, which was 5.8. Yeah, 5.8 in from May, June. So May 5.8, and June 3.5%. So this represents a 2.3% drop. So possibly, hopefully, this should translate into some way, somehow, the policy rates and also the finance minister's media budget.
So the PPI eased to 3.5% in June
in
2026. Okay, right.
So that's the latest. Now, away from that, the Bank of Ghana has announced that headline inflation is expected to return to medium-term target of 8 plus or minus 2%, barring any shocks. According to the central bank, upside risks from geopolitical tensions in the Middle East, however, remain significant. The following report highlights more.
According to the Central Bank's May 2026 Monetary Policy Report, headline inflation picked up marginally in April 2026, marking the first increase since the disinflation process began in December 2024. This pickup was driven by non-food items in the CPI basket. Food inflation declined to 2.2% in April 2026 from 2.3% in March 2026 on the back of a bumper harvest. Non-food inflation, however, edged up slightly from 3.9 in March 2026 to 4.2% in April on the back of increasing utility costs. Despite the uptick, the bank's core inflation measures, which excludes energy and utility items, continued to decline, highlighting that the increase in inflation was not broad-based.
So that was a news desk report. Now, Brussels Airlines flight bound for Lome has made a safe return to Accra after a technical problem was detected shortly after departure. The authority confirmed that Brussels Airlines have begun investigations into the fault, with the Ghana Civil Aviation Authority providing oversight in line with international aviation standards. Here's a news desk report.
A Brussels Airlines flight from Accra to Lome was forced to return to Port on Monday evening after developing a technical fault shortly after takeoff. According to the Ghana Civil Aviation Authority, flight SN278 departed Accra at 6:06 p.m. on Monday, July 20, but encountered a technical problem mid-air. In a statement, the GCAA commended the crew for adhering to established safety procedures, adding that the safety of passengers and crews remain its top priority. The authority said Brussels Airlines is currently investigating the technical issue under the oversight of the GCAA in line with the standard aviation safety protocols. Following the incident, Brussels Airlines cancelled flight SN278. The GCAA says affected passengers have been assisted by airlines officials in line with the Ghana Civil Aviation Economic Directives 2019, specifically Part 2 on the consumer protection. The authority has also assured the traveling public that Ghana's aviation safety and security oversight system remains robust. No injuries were reported. Further updates will be provided as the investigations continues.
So that was a news desk report. On the international front, US President Donald Trump has imposed a 50% tariff on a wide range of goods imported from Canada in retaliation for what he called unequal treatment of US cars, dairy, and alcohol. Everyday consumer items like wine and hockey sticks and industrial goods such as cement are among the goods targeted. However, several key exports will be spared, such as energy, potash, critical minerals, and fish. Prime Minister Makani responded by saying Canada stood ready to intensify trade talks with the US in the coming weeks. The White House said the duties would take effect in 30 days. It marks a major escalation in trade tensions between the North American neighbors. These tensions have been simmering since Trump returned to office in January 2025 and unleashed a wide range global program of tariffs. So those are stories shaping both the local and international economies, Nana.
Many thanks, Nana Juman Premper. And this is the afternoon business review. Our big conversation today is about the policy rate, and we know that the Monetary Policy Committee of the Bank of Ghana is the meeting started yesterday and will end tomorrow. Already there are excerpts. I mean, as usual, the governor of the Bank of Ghana usually gives an introductory remark before the meeting begins, and there are excerpts of that. I want to quote what he's been saying at the opening of the meeting. And one thing he said is that renewed hostilities around the Straits of Hormuz have since reignited volatility in energy markets, with Brent rebounding above $85 per barrel earlier this week. And as you heard when I gave you the commodities prices on the global market, I mentioned that it was around $84 dollars, but it has since reduced to $79 as we speak. So I'm glad that he mentioned earlier this week. So but earlier this week is like, today's when?
Today is Tuesday.
So yesterday.
Well, the week started on Sunday. So
well, and he says that for Ghana, as a commodity exporting yet energy importing company, These developments reinforce the need to assess carefully the extent to which external cost pressures may influence the domestic inflation outlook over the policy horizon. And he says headline inflation has risen for 3 consecutive months from 3.2% in March to 5.3% in June, driven largely by transport and haulage prices. The prolonged disinflation phase has ended and inflation is now returning towards the target band. The economy expanded by 6.4% in the first quarter, up from 6.2% a year earlier, with the GDP deflator easing to 4.1%. Real private sector credit has accelerated to 34.1% against a 4.5% contraction a year ago. The exchange rate has remained broadly stable through the first half of July. The banking sector remains sound and well capitalized, though the still elevated non-performing loan ratio indicates that credit risk has not yet been fully worked through the system. The MPC Educational Observership program forms part of our broader effort to enhance transparency, strengthen policy credibility, and build stronger linkages between academia and policy institutions. So these are excerpts from the central bank governor's statement at the opening of the MPC meetings. Sometimes when you listen to the opening, you can tell what the decision will be like at the end of the meeting. But Nana, you have been doing some work to look for us to look at how the trend has been in terms of the policy rate, and give us an indication as to which year or which period you have been looking at and what the trend has been.
All right, so we are starting from July 2025 till now. So I'm taking you from July 2025 to September 2025 to January 2026, March 2026, May 2026, then July, the current rate for July now. So July 2025, the policy rates was pegged at 25%. According to the committee, they held the decision, or they held the rates constant because the Bank of Ghana maintained the policy rate because inflation, although declining, remained above the medium-term targets according to their books, and the committee wanted to sustain the disinflation process while maintaining exchange rate stability. So the expected impact for that was high borrowing costs remain to contain inflation and stabilize the economy. So reason the MPC, or the committee gave was to maintain or stabilize the economy and maintain Ghana's exchange rates market. And the expected impact was high borrowing costs to contain inflation. So basically, inflation was the key factor for the MPC's decision for June 2025. Then from June we moved to September. So July, August, September, 3 months. So from July 2025 we moved to September 2025.
3 months later.
Yes. So they reduced the rate by 3.5 percentage points. So from 25% recorded in July, it reduced to 21.5% in September 2025. The decision was because inflation had declined significantly, the Ghana cedi had stabilized, and macroeconomic conditions improved. The MPC judged that there was room to begin monetary easing. So because the currency was stable, inflation had declined, they had to move in to begin monetary easing. So that's why they decided to reduce the rate from 25% to 21.5%. The expected impact was to lower lending rates, improve access to credit, and support for investment in economic growth. So if they are beginning monetary easing, that means lending rates should also come down. There should be improved access to credit. to help support economic growth so that we can also feel okay. So from September, 3 months again, that's January 2026, it reduced the committee reduced the policy rate by 6 percentage points. So from 21.5% recorded in September 2025 to 15.5% recorded in January 2026. The reason was continued improved inflation, stronger fiscal performance, and increased confidence in the economy allowed the central bank to implement a substantial rate cut. So the city was doing well, inflation is declining, the economy is doing okay, investors
Are
are
coming
happy,
in.
they are coming in. So it was just prudent for the central bank to reduce the rate. The expected impact was businesses and households benefited from lower financing costs, encouraging production and consumption. PPIs was also good
Okay.
for the government. So for January 2026, we started a year with a 15.5 percentage point in terms of monetary MP policy rate.
Class
3 months after, that is
91.3
March
FM.
2026, the Bank of Ghana reduced the rate again by 1.5 percentage points to 14%. So in January 2026, from 15.5% to 14%. And it said inflation continued to moderate toward the bank's target, and exchange rate conditions remained relatively stable. The MPC sought to further support economic recovery while maintaining price stability. And the expected impact was continued reduction in borrowing costs and stronger private sector activity. So the economy was good, was stable enough to enable the private sector
To thrive, yeah.
Yes. So from May 2026, next we are in July 2026. So
26,
May,
yeah.
June, July, another 3 months. And as you rightly said, the committee
Class
day 2 of the
91.3
meeting,
FM.
they're expected to conclude tomorrow. So the rate is still at 14%. No further change yet until tomorrow. So as of July 2026, the policy rate maintained at 14%, reflecting the bank's assessment that the current stance appropriately balanced economic growth with inflation control. And the expected impact is stable monetary conditions and continuous support for sustainable economic growth. So, Nana, between July 2025 to July 2026, the Bank of Ghana has reduced the rate from 25% to 14%, representing 11 percentage points from 2025 July to now that we're expecting a new rate. So tomorrow, hopefully, we are looking at the central bank maintaining the rate, but some business players within the business community are also pushing for the rates to be maintained, and they're also calling for lending rates to drop. So as the clock keeps ticking, we are waiting on your people, your favorite people, the central bank and the governor of the Bank of Ghana, who is heading the committee to
Yeah.
announce
The chairman of the
the
committee.
chairman of the committee whether to announce a new rate, reduce it,
Or maintain it.
at that rate.
Right. So we are monitoring the meeting. Hopefully tomorrow there will be a press conference. Why does this even affect you? Why should you be concerned about this? Why should you monitor or even keep an eye on the policy rate? Well, it informs how much you lend from the commercial banks. Yes. So there's a reference rate as well, but this one is how much the banks borrow from the central bank, and then it trickles down. So it's something that affects everybody. It affects manufacturers. It affects, academia. It affects markets women. It affects all of us because everybody borrows.
Class
Everybody
91.3
borrows,
FM.
and also it also helps the banking sector. So if your banking sector is strong and robust, it's good for your economy. It means your economy is healthy. So that is why the policy rate is a very key thing for our economy. It's a key indicator actually, and so hopefully we remain within the plus and minus or plus or minus 8 band. That's our target, that we are always within plus or minus 8, so we don't go beyond 8%. We don't go beyond 8%. That's the target of the central bank. So if your policy rate is higher than 8%, it means there's a problem, and we got there. We went beyond that, but we are back. So
You're back
We
for
are
good.
back. We are back. We are back. And businesses have been complaining that
Class
around
at
us,
1.3
as in
FM.
around Ghana, the other countries, our neighbors, borrow at very low,
Rates.
rate rates. And so they have been pushing the central bank to consider or to ensure that we are always, we have lower rates. We are still high. We are not there yet. We are still high. But hopefully we are able to lend lower than our neighbors. I don't
The
know how that is
10%.
going to happen. But what percentage?
The 10%.
10% is high.
No, that's the governor's for the year. I was thinking that, yeah,
Yeah.
10%. Then from 10,
Yeah,
you
yeah.
look
You got.
so let's start in his words. Let's start with 10. When you put it hit 10,
We are getting there.
you calm down.
We are getting there. We are getting there. So, the Bank of Ghana says it is working very hard to ensure that you borrow at lower rates. If you borrow, pay, because the central bank governor mentioned in his remark that non-performing loans, when you take the loans, you do not pay. It affects the banks, and the risk is too high. It makes it so when you borrow, you don't pay. People even borrow from MTN, and they are not paying. It is very sad. So when you borrow from our banks, do well to pay. Do well to pay.
the private sector.
Yeah, in fact, non-performing loans, it's so high. The ratio is so high. So when you borrow, pay. Management prepare. When you borrow from MTN, you should pay. This is this has been our show for today, and this is the afternoon business review. My name is Oye Ankrah, and I did this with Management Prempe. We'll come your way again tomorrow. And remember, the finance minister will be presenting a media budget on Thursday. Stay tuned in to Class FM 91.3. Will bring you all that you need to know from that, and then some analysis as well. My name is Oye Ankrah. As always, you do not need a dictionary to understand
Class
business news.
91.3
Have a good afternoon.
FM.